How many TikToks have you seen where somebody just lost their dadgum mind at a drive-through window? McDonald's is probably one of the most common. We're gonna react to a McDonald's horror story today by Wansee Entertainment. Guys, make sure to subscribe to Wansee. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. Let's get into this one. My true horror experience at the drive-through.
There are two types of people who work at McDonald's, or fast food places in general.
Okay.
There are ambitious, intelligent people who are trying to work hard to achieve a goal. In the hopes that one day they'll be able to quit for the sake of something better.
Yeah.
And then there are the losers. Those with no ambition who have given up and have no desire to achieve anything other than a weekly paycheck.
So this
I like to consider
is
myself
an employee
in the first
horror
category.
story?
As I was working hard to afford my apartment while taking classes at the local community college. I normally work the later shifts at the drive-thru window.
Okay.
Which is the one spot most employees hated working the most.
Yeah.
You constantly have to deal with extremely impatient, oftentimes very rude people who are on their phones or have music blaring.
God, there's no way I could do it.
Oftentimes don't realize that I wasn't the individual who took their order, so it's not my fault if it's wrong.
That's right.
In addition to that, you're pretty much constantly on your feet and exposed to the elements. No matter how cold, windy, or rainy it is, you have to keep leaning out into it. Wishing that you were in a warm car about to drive away from this place.
That's a horror story by itself, man.
Is please try to be more kind and patient with the drive-through people. Some are lazy, but most are trying their best. And even though you only see them for about half a minute, a kind remark or a warm smile might make their day.
I always try to do that, unless somebody's being rude to me. There's a lot of rude people.
I work the late shift with two people who I believe qualify for the second category of employees.
All right.
Connie was a high school dropout who was almost always late and was never invested in what she was doing.
Right.
And Harold was a deadbeat who often smelled like weed and only kept the job because otherwise his parents would throw him out of the house. He was 32 years old.
Right.
So one night I was there after 11 p.m. by the drive-thru window.
I like how the McDonald's upside down is a W for
flipping through the pages of my class notes and trying to keep warm by the fry machine.
Right.
Connie was mopping while looking at her phone, and Harold was in the back probably getting baked in the walk-in cooler. That late at night, we rarely got customers.
Wow.
And if we did,
smoking weed in the
they were
walk-in
almost
cooler?
always zonked-out college kids.
Sure.
Who used the drive-thru but never physically walked into the restaurant.
Right.
I stood up and stretched my legs and told Connie that I was heading to the bathroom. It was around 11:30 at this point. I came back less than 5 minutes later, with Connie more or less in the same spot that she was before. I walked past her and turned the corner to return to the window. And froze dead in my tracks.
What the heck?
There was a bald man in white face makeup and a black hoodie standing directly outside the window staring in. His eyes were wide, with a blank expression that read, "What kind of trouble can I create?" The figure made direct eye contact with me and smirked, and slammed his palm against the window. I had no idea what to do.
What do you want, dude?
Inside my head, the words, clown, mime, psychopath, danger, and death, all exploded like fireworks. The window was already shut and locked
like when the
to
clowns
protect myself from the cold. But the doors were all unlocked, and this person could easily walk right in and grab any one of us if he wanted to.
Well, sure.
In my head, I kept referring
it's a place
to
of
it
business,
as
but
he. But honestly, I had no idea what the gender was. The outfit and makeup made the stranger look androgynous. Open. Drawing out the word like a snake. Now, even if the figure wasn't dressed like that, I was under no obligation to open the window.
Sure.
It's unlawful to serve walk-ups at the drive-thru window.
Right.
Certainly for their safety, but also for ours.
Yeah.
I shook my head and backed away. I called over my shoulder, "Lock the doors." The whole time, this figure didn't break eye contact with me, and to the best of my memory, I don't even remember it blinking. It drew back its lips in a sinister smile, and I shit you not, its gums were black. I don't mean I was too far away that I couldn't see clearly. I mean its gums were as black as licorice.
How?
Open.
What
it hissed
the
again,
hell?
louder this time.
Dude, that's
its other hand
very,
slammed
very
against
creepy.
the window, and it licked its lips with its tongue.
Just call the police. Are you
That's
hungry?
when the third hand slammed itself into the window. A left hand, and it was just as pale and as skeletal as the other two. I lost my shit.
Where'd that come from?
Holy shit! Call the cops! I screamed and ran back into the office, which was
Somebody
the only
just
room
trying to
with a
scare
walking
somebody,
door and no windows.
in my opinion.
I heard Connie scream, "What the fuck?" And she dropped her mop and flew across the room and made for the back with me.
Or
All the yelling attracted Harold, and I shoved past him into the office and told him to look at the security camera.
Yeah.
Sure enough, the white-faced creeper looked to have 3 hands on the window.
Oh my.
It was tilting its head back and forth, perhaps trying to discover where I ran off to.
How
He
bizarre.
locked the office door and called the cops, explaining to the operator that there was at least 2 prowlers outside acting in a threatening manner towards us. I kind of expected it to be over after I called the cops. If it was a prank, they would run once they realized it scared me enough to call 911.
Right.
But it didn't end there. We watched as the figure left the drive-thru window, circled the building, and made for the restaurant door.
Of course. He was
Is
trying
there
to
a
get
second
in.
one? Look for a second one.
No, he just had a second. He just had a third hand.
Connie was freaking out, and Harold was muttering something about not getting the police involved. Luckily because he was carrying weed.
Yeah.
That's when the power went out.
I was just stashing in the restaurant, man.
Cameras, lights, phone, the whole building went down.
Well, you got your cell phone, though.
And barely 10 seconds after we all quieted down after shouting at each other in the dark, we heard footsteps in the dining room area.
Is he
Connie,
barefooted?
did you lock the doors?
Oh, no.
She didn't reply. I think she had her hand pressed over her mouth.
Of course not.
Open.
We heard a voice call from outside the room in the dark.
Uh-huh.
Open.
The cops better
The
get there
shout came at
soon.
least 3 more times, circling from the kitchen to right off the hallway where we were hiding. I was convinced I was about to die, and every decision I had made in my life that brought me there was flashing before my eyes.
Oh my god, dude. This is kind of... This got to be the scariest thing in the
After another few
world, dude.
minutes, we heard the wail of police sirens outside.
Thank
And
goodness.
at any moment, we expected to hear gunfire and the police shouting at someone to get on the ground. But we
Well,
never
why
did.
would you hear gunfire unless they
We waited
resisted,
until the police
though?
identified themselves and opened the door and ran out into the parking lot. Since the power was down, we couldn't show the cops the security footage.
Right.
So we just told them what we saw. They swept the whole building and said it was clear.
Huh.
The owner of that particular franchise store showed up about an hour later,
Yeah.
after Harold and Connie had left. I waited for the power to be restored,
How
so
bizarre,
an officer could escort me back inside to collect my belongings.
Right.
The next day, my manager called me and asked me to work the night shift. I asked him if the creep from last night had been caught. When he said, "There was no creep," I told him I quit and hung up the phone.
There was no creep.
This story is completely true. I have no idea what caused the power outage, which apparently erased all the security footage from the day.
Oh my
Without
gosh.
proof on video, my manager and the cops concluded that it was an elaborate prank. But that third hand still bothers me to this day.
I mean, even if
more
it's an
so when
elaborate
hungry
prank,
in human
they
eyes.
felt threatened.
Sure, it
You know?
could have been a prank, but I wish someone would just confirm that for me, so I can sleep again.
Right.
Keep your windows locked at night, and if you hear someone tapping from behind the curtains, don't open them.
I always lock the door. My during broad daylight, like when you see how I just had my headphones on, I specifically get headphones that are not noise canceling. So if somebody's knocking on the door, I can hear it. I have protection in my house. You know what I mean? So the idea that if you feel threatened, just because someone doesn't actually hurt you doesn't mean there's no harm done, right? If somebody's acting threatening towards you, you don't have to wait until you get stabbed. You know what I mean? Call the police, get them involved, and he did the right thing. If the manager didn't believe him or whatever, screw him. You didn't need that job, you know? What, are you gonna go back to work with Connie and old druggie, you know? Whatever. They said he was just smoking weed, but no telling. Yeah, they made him out to a deadbeat. So, at any rate, guys, Wansee Entertainment, make sure to subscribe to him. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.